Today, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite scenes in a movie I've seen over the last few weeks. And it happened completely by accident. The scene I'm talking about is in the film The Elephant Man, which is directed by David Lynch. And the scene in particular is starring the great Anthony Hopkins. So I'm not sure if you know or not, at the moment, I am creating my own feature film called Outer Heavens. And as part of the research, I have watched The Elephant Man recently. But I've watched it a few times because it hit a significant chord with me. Now, this isn't the first time that's happened. As a kid, I watched The Elephant Man. It was one of my favorite movies when I was about 10 or 11 or 12, I'm not sure, but I do remember it was around when Pokemon Blue came out, so I could have been younger. I remember I took a long break from playing Pokemon Blue to watch The Elephant Man, which was on a channel called TV3 here in Ireland on a Sunday evening, and my mother told me about the film. I watched it, and I was both horrified, saddened, and enlightened by it. And that still happens today because I watched it out of new, fresh eyes recently as an adult and also as an art piece. It's magnificent. It's not exactly like your traditional David Lynch movie, but you can see his fingerprints scattered all over it. I do believe it is one of his best movies, if you ask me, because the character development... never mind character development, I don't even know what that is. But the characters have such a great emotional connection with me. Something of true beauty. The scene that I'm talking about in particular is when Anthony Hopkins sees the Elephant Man for the first time. And the reason I had such a connection with this scene and why I feel it's so powerful is because if you watch the movie, this is kind of how you will feel about the movie. The same way Anthony Hopkins feels about the Elephant Man in this scene. It totally captures the whole film, the feeling of the whole film in that scene. But what's really cool about that scene is it happened by accident. Serendipity, one of my favorite things in art. When something that's not planned is better than everything that you did plan and more powerful. And it's very hard to capture this because you have to be working comfortably with people in an environment that you feel like you can take those risks and you feel like you can have a bit of crack and do things that aren't planned. And I'm really excited to show you this scene. So here we go. Now, as you'll see in this scene, it's a tracking shot. And as the shot is tracking towards Anthony Hopkins' face, slowly but surely, and right at the perfect moment, a tear rolls down his cheek. Wow. Now what I heard was they weren't even going to do this scene because they didn't have enough film. And it was getting dark and it was getting late and they're all over in London and they just weren't going to do it. It had been a long day. And Anthony Hopkins said, let's do one take. And they did one take and this was the take. The tear wasn't meant to happen. That wasn't part of the script, but it did happen because they said, fuck it, let's do one more take. Let's try it out. And look what happened. The most powerful scene in the whole film for me. Might not be for everyone else. There's many more great scenes, but that one, for me, is beautiful. And it just goes to show how important it is to risk things when it comes to art. How important it is to get into a sort of flow state. How important it is to be in a flow state when it comes to art and not to plan everything. You think sometimes when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to art, it's not particularly filmmaking. The director must direct everything. The director must know everything. The director must have everything planned out perfectly for the project. And if it's not planned out, it's no good. That's not true. Because as we see here, some of the best moments come from the unplanned. So I think, for me particularly, this happened throughout my whole film, Making Outer Heavens. I'm editing it at the moment in post-production, and the best parts of it were unscripted, were unplanned, and happened in the moment because the other people involved in the movie took inspiration and brought to it their own perspective, their own creativity, their own power. And that's why I believe that's how to create a very powerful and emotional piece of work. So we gotta stay unpredictable and be comfortable in the unknown, because that's where we have to go. Have a lovely day.